Hello, this is Art Gaines for the Art Gaines Kids channel. Today we're going to be looking at the stabilizer tool. So the stabilizer tool is in your brush palette, or your brush window here. It is somewhere in here. There it is, the stabilizer. Now, I'm going to demonstrate what drawing without the stabilizer is like over here. Drawing this with the stabilizer is just fairly normal. The brush leaves a mark exactly where the tip of your stylus is. It's very, very straightforward. But sometimes when you're drawing, and you're just drawing normally, it's hard to make really perfectly smooth lines. Like if you look very closely at these lines I'm drawing, you know, if you look at them from a distance, they look pretty smooth, right? But if I zoom in on them, you can see they're not actually that straight. They've got little wibbly-wobbly jig-jags in them. So what we want to be able to do is to minimize that. And the stabilizer tool allows us to do so. So first of all, I'm going to just set my brush to be the setting that I want. I'm going to be drawing over this little sketch that I made. I'm going to choose black as my color of my true love's hair. And I have the wrong tool selected. Oh yes, I have the magnifying glass selected. I don't want that. Alright, so I have black selected. It's a little too narrow, so I'm going to bring up my minimum size over here. Bring up the minimum size of my brush so that there isn't much difference between when I press lightly and press hard. It's a little better. I want a little bit more control than that, so I'm just going to bring the minimum size down a little bit. There, that's a little bit better. All right. Now, as you can see, I'm just drawing normally, like I was a moment before, but when I turn on the stabilizer, and it's on the rope setting, the stabilizer rope setting, I now have this little rope attached to the tip of my stylus, which allows me to draw lines that are a lot more smooth. And if I give myself a really long stabilizer, a really long rope, I get an even longer string. Like that. And if I also turn on the spring, I get a little spring, as you can see, which gives me even more control, or even more smoothness, even more stability. So now I'm going to demonstrate how, after I've made this very rough sketch, I can now go over it again on a new layer and make it just absolutely smooth and perfect the way I want it to be. Now, you don't necessarily want it to be that way, but for the purposes of this illustration, I do. So here we go. That string is a little bit too long, so I'm going to bring that down. It's a little bit better. Still too long though for my liking. And that's probably pretty good. All right. So it doesn't really matter where you start, I guess. This is just do whatever you feel like makes the most sense, I guess. Fingers are actually very square a lot of the time in real life. Now that's a little blobular, which wasn't what I was going for, so let's try that again. Fingers are a lot more square than people think, so that's why I drew that like that. Draw my thumb. And there we go. I'm Art Gaines for the Art Gaines Kids channel.